Hi everybody, welcome to TELV 104. This is History of Film from about 1945 up through this century. This is the latter half of two classes. The other class is TELV 103, and that's from the beginning of film up to 1945. It's not a prereq for this class. This class is designed for folks that have no working knowledge of studying cinema. So don't worry about whether you should have taken 103 before this. If you did, great. You're going to know some of the terms to begin with, and you'll see how the medium continues to develop. But this course intro module, we're really just here to quickly make sure, one, that you can access Canvas, two, that you can see the media files, that you're seeing my picture, you're hearing my voice. I'm going to run through a quick couple of slides here, and then I'm going to move you into Module 1. Module 1, we're going to go through the syllabus, and then we're going to run a mini version of what we'll do each and every week in the class. Okay, so my name is pronounced Dermody. There's a ton of Michaels out there, so I've picked up the nickname either Derm or Dermody. You're welcome to use any of the three, whatever you're comfortable with. There's my email address, and that is the best way to get a hold of me. I have a phone in my office, but I can't access it remotely. So if you need to reach out to me, and there may be times this semester when you do, use my email. That's the most reliable way to reach out to me. And then I know that a lot of folks don't use email like they used to, so I am going to encourage you to check your email regularly, because that's how I'll communicate with you. Okay? But first, a little bit about myself. I'll keep this brief. I am a producer and a director. I've done a lot of commercial work, which we call agency these days. I've been a film and television professor for, I think, 16 years this year. I have a handful of degrees. I have a bachelor's in communication, TV, film. I have a master's in communication, TV, film. And then I have what they call a Master of Fine Arts in digital cinema. And that's comparable to a PhD. The difference being a PhD or a doctor, they do research on a topic, where with an MFA, we actually create a product and some kind of art. And for me, it's film. So the reason that I bring this up is that I kind of know what I'm talking about from the inside out. So I'm not somebody who's just read a lot of theory books. I've actually done this. I know how to operate a camera. I know how to edit. And I think I can bring a little bit of understanding of how cinema is created to you. So I think that's going to be an advantage. And then lastly, I teach because I want to, not because I have to. Through your career, you may run into these teachers that are doing it but would really rather be doing something else. That's not the case with me. I get to do both things that I enjoy immensely. One, production, and then two, teaching. And I think that adds to the experience. At least that's the feedback I've gotten over the years. So was I always this guy who could succeed in the academic environment? Nope. Quite the contrary. I was a terrible student as a young man. In fact, I was a C- high school student. I barely escaped. And I'm pretty sure that the only reason I did was because they wanted me out of their hair. But for me, it just wasn't relevant. There weren't film classes. The music classes were, they weren't doing relevant music. It just didn't fit for who I was. I couldn't test into state college. I failed there. I flunked out of actually 3 different junior colleges. I kept trying to go because I knew there was a reason to go, but I didn't have one for myself. And I kept thinking that if I changed schools, it'd be better, and that was never the case. It wasn't the school, it was me. And it all changed for me on a class that I took, and I teach it today, which was a television studio production class. I took it at night. I was working full time. I was in my mid-20s, and within a couple of weeks of that class, everything clicked for me. It connected with how visual I was, my interest and passion for music and rhythm and beat, and I was really good at it. So within a couple of weeks, I knew what I was going to do the rest of my life. And then what happened was all these classes and courses that I couldn't seem to get through were a breeze. It was no problem to show up because I knew I had to get through geometry or my history class so that I could get back to my TV classes. And I ended up being pretty much an A student after that, all the way through 2 different grad programs. So the reason I share that with you is school isn't necessarily something that you're born to be good at. You kind of have to find a reason to be here, and it doesn't have to be film. It can be anything. But if you have that reason, it makes everything so much easier. And then a healthy dose of being organized and just showing up and doing what's asked of you every week. You'd be amazed at how successful you'll be in this academic environment. So that's it. I don't spend a lot of time in the class talking about myself or my career, but I do point out for you things that I notice because I have been in it for a while. So what I want you to do now is I want you to hit the next button on these things, go through the rest of the information in the course intro information. If you haven't taken a Canvas class, watch a couple of those tutorials. They'll explain the mechanics of Canvas and how it works, and I don't touch on that. So I'm the content guy. Canvas is not run by me. It's a learning management system that SAC has purchased. But there's a ton of help here if you haven't done this before. In the next segment, you'll see the syllabus. When you get done with this course introduction module, I want you to move into module 1 because that now is going to be due next Tuesday. It's the only Tuesday that something's due for us and our class. Our clock is going to be Monday night at 5 o'clock. So 5 o'clock in the evening, one module closes and the other module opens up. I'll explain that a little bit more when I go through the syllabus. But next Monday happens to be a holiday, so I'm not making your work due on the holiday. I'm pushing that out to Tuesday. So you need to complete this course intro module, which by watching the video and moving through the pages you will have done. Then you're going to go into module 1. You're going to do a little mini module, and that will be due next Tuesday at 5. Okay? So if you are enrolled but you can't get in, well, you probably can't see this video, can you? But if you are having some technical problems, go in and update your information in WebAdvisor. You want to make sure your email address is correct because that's how we'll speak to each other. Canvas has a really super, in fact, I can't say enough good things about it, 800 number. And these people are there like 24/7. So there's the number. It's also there's a help button in Canvas, and if you click on it, you'll see the number there again. As an instructor, I get stuck technically on some of the things that I try to do, and these people will answer the phone, number one, and be really helpful. So if you have technical questions about Canvas that aren't answered in the tutorials, then you want to hit up these folks on this 844 number. They're fantastic, okay? A lot of people ask about textbook. There is a required textbook, but I was able to find it online, and it's what they call OER. It's free. It's downloadable. It's a PDF. We'll use it throughout the semester. I have links to it in each and every module that I require it. Free. All you got to do, download it, and you'll be able to read what I need you to. How do you get the movies? Well, that's interesting because when we first designed this course, they weren't going to let us teach it because SAC doesn't have copyright permission to run these movies. So what I did was find the movies that are in the Netflix system, and that changes, but I've double checked this semester and they're all in there. And I also sign up for them at the same time you do each week, so I make sure there's no shortage. But you don't have to have a Netflix subscription, but I recommend it because you can order the DVDs in advance and you can always make sure that you get them. Now, you got to do the DVD thing because their streaming service is much smaller in terms of their catalog, and very few of the films from a historical standpoint are in there. But you can find these films lots of places. You're welcome to find them wherever you go to watch your films. For me, that doesn't matter. What does matter is that you watch the full-length movie. There's things about timing and pacing that happens over 90 minutes, which is the average length of a feature, that's important for you to grasp. So the last thing that I'll say along those lines is you want to take the time to watch the film. Build in a regular schedule where you're going to come and do your work even though it's online. I don't check in on you throughout the week. You will be posting things in a discussion board that you run. I don't remind you to do things. So you have to take a certain amount of responsibility to get through each week's module by that Monday at 5 p.m. or in this next case, Tuesday at 5 p.m. Only time we'll do a Tuesday. Okay? So that's what's going on here. This is how it kind of works. You should be able to see everything, hear everything. And now what I want you to do is move forward into Module 1 so we can get started on that. Last thing I want to say is I'm really glad you're here today. It's a full class. We maxed out early in terms of enrollment. There's a long waiting list of folks. So if you decide that after hearing my voice, you don't want to take the class, I won't be offended. Happens all the time. If you struggle to get through Module 1 and decide, this just isn't for me, do me a favor and drop as soon as you can. So that we can get people that are on the waiting list into the class, because it has to happen pretty quickly within the first week or two, or they lose the chance to take the class. But my hope is that you find this interesting and the way that it's laid out is easy to use, and you'll know that soon enough. So there you go. Thanks for being here. And then work through the rest of this module. Head on over to Module 1. I'll see you there. Thanks.